If you're a fellow Generation X latchkey kid like I was, then perhaps you remember eating some of these snacks after school or during summertime while your parents were at work. Back then, peanut butter was a staple in just about every household across America, just like it is today. Peanut butter and jelly sandwiches were a much-loved snack. Grape jelly was my favorite, although strawberry worked just fine in a pinch. But we didn't just use peanut butter for sandwiches. If you were craving something sweet and there weren't any cookies or candy in the house, you could smear some peanut butter on saltine crackers, and suddenly you had a sweet and salty snack made from very humble ingredients. And if you were lucky enough to have some vanilla wafers in the pantry, well, that felt downright fancy. You could sandwich a little peanut butter between two wafers for an even sweeter treat. But that's not all we did with peanut butter. My father would often cut up fresh vegetables for me to snack on, things like carrots, cucumber, and celery, and he'd spread peanut butter on the celery as an incentive for me to eat it. And if you were feeling especially creative, you could even add raisins on top for a little extra flair. We call that ants on a log. One of my mother's favorite comfort food snacks was the banana and mayonnaise sandwich. That's right, a sandwich made with plain white bread, sliced bananas, and mayonnaise. She would sometimes offer to make me one, but I always declined. I was and still am very skeptical about the combination of bananas and mayonnaise together. But believe it or not, the banana and mayonnaise sandwich was actually a much-loved Southern delicacy dating back to the early 20th century, and it became especially popular during the Great Depression. One reason was because bananas were one of the cheapest and most widely available fruits during the 1920s and 30s. Back when I was a child, if I was craving something sweet and we didn't have any desserts in the house like ice cream or cookies, my father would often say, "Eat a bowl of cereal. That'll satisfy your sweet tooth." And honestly, he was absolutely right. I'd argue that many of the cereals from the 1970s and 80s were even more sugar-laden than some of the cereals sold today. One of my favorites was Frosted Wheats, but when I was a little girl, we didn't have the mini wheats like we do now. The biscuits were much larger back then. I also loved Raisin Bran, which was another go-to whenever I wanted a sweet snack. We didn't always keep things like candy and cookies in the house. Those were considered occasional treats, not something meant to be eaten every single day. And let's not forget hot dogs. Those were another staple in many households. For a lot of kids, they were one of our very first favorite foods. They certainly were one of mine. But what happened if there weren't any hot dog buns in the house and you still wanted a hot dog? Well, you had to improvise and use a slice of sandwich bread instead, like I'm doing here. For the longest time, I thought that I must have been one of the only people who ever did that. But come to find out, lots of people did the exact same thing. I guess great minds think alike. So what kinds of humble after-school snacks did you grow up eating back in the day? Share your memories down in the comments section below. I'd love to hear from you.